Welcome, everybody, to my review of The Voice of the Clown. There is so much to say about this book. People have been looking for this book like crazy. A lot of people want to know if it's worth it for the price, and there is just so much to talk about. This book is pretty elusive. It is one of the only two books that Brenda Brown Canary ever published. She actually recently passed away. She passed away in August of this year, and I didn't know, so I'm sorry to hear that. But she published only two books. I don't know why. And I mean, I really did like this book, but is it worth the price? Okay, so this book, from what I hear, used to go for like $5 or $10 maybe. And ever since Paperbacks from Hell was published, a book that I've talked about quite a lot on here, Grady Hendrix gave it such a good review in that book that ever since Paperbacks from Hell was published, people have been really gouging the price of this. They're asking like $110. Like that's what I've seen it go for, 90 to under $10. I got mine for 58. I think I got a solid deal, considering how much I've seen it go for. Recently, a copy sold for like $40 on eBay, so it's possible to get it a little cheaper than the 100 something it usually goes for. But is it worth it? I think if you're really curious about this book and you've spent a lot of time hunting it down, I think if you paid about, $40 to $60 like I paid about $58 for this thing. I think it was worth it. It was worth it for me at least. It was a cool thing to hunt down. I had fun hunting it down, had fun reading it. It's pretty elusive, really tough to find, and I really enjoyed it. I think it was worth the price for me. I guess it just sort of depends on you, how much you're willing to spend, because I was not willing to spend $100. And I'll tell you right now, if you spent I think on Amazon right now, like the only one up is like $117. It is not worth it. It's one paperback. It is not worth it for that much money. But I really did like this book. Of course, it has some negatives. But it's well written, but it's got some really long chapters. Like the second half of this book is all like one chapter, which really annoys me. I like short chapters. I like like in Moby Dick, each chapter is usually a couple pages. They have some chapters that are like 10 pages, but usually it's like 2 or 3, 4 pages in Moby Dick. That's what I like. But in this book, like the whole second half of this book was like one chapter. I mean, I know that's nitpicky, but there's a couple other things too. Like this is called The Voice of the Clown, and at first the whole thing with the clown doll, like that's like the priority in here, but then it sort of takes a back seat to lesser plot lines that really just involve like this whole family just yelling at each other a lot. And that was kind of annoying to read. Like every other sentence has some exclamation point, and it's just some weird yelling at each other. Like I didn't like that. And one other thing I didn't like about this, I know I'm saying a lot of things I didn't like, but I really did enjoy this book. And I definitely think it was a fun read. But there's like one other thing I didn't like too. As you can see here, little Laura is so adorable. Why is her mother so terrified? And here's the thing. So like you go into this book, it's about this clown doll, it's about this little girl, something must be up. And the way I sort of want to put this is like, okay, the mother is an awful character, and the dad is just plain boring. He has no personality. And so she has no problem with her father, doesn't do anything to him, but she does all this stuff to her mother. But her mother is already a jerk. She's so unlikable that I don't know who I'm supposed to identify with here. I don't know who I'm supposed to cheer for, who I'm supposed to like. I think you need to have at least one likable character in a book, and I just didn't know who it was here. It's like the Omen. If in the Omen it's like Gregory Peck is just real boring, and then Damien's mom is just like a jerk. So then it's like Damien does all this stuff to his mother that's a jerk, but it's like you wouldn't really care. But because his parents are actual likable characters, you're like, oh man, oh no. But then it's like just think of like the Omen, like if the parents were like the dad was boring and then the mom's a jerk, it's like, well, who would you really cheer for? There was like, I didn't quite feel I knew who to cheer for. Like there's like her grandma's in the book. Her grandma was a nice character, I guess. She didn't have any problems, but like she wasn't like a main character or anything. Like she was in it quite a bit, but she wasn't really like a main character, not a big part of the story. Like if she wasn't in here, like I'm sure the story would still go the same way. But I don't know, guys. That was just one kind of problem I had. Like, I mean, I had a fun time reading it. It's a really fun story, but like the whole time I'm like, I don't really know who I want to win here. I wasn't sure because the mom's a jerk, the kid is strange, the dad's boring, and it mostly focuses on the mom and daughter sort of. So I don't know, it was just sort of I don't know, maybe I'm just nitpicky here, but I mean, I did like it despite the characters not being likable, and sometimes the clown aspect took a little bit of a back seat, but it was dark, it was creepy. It's definitely a good book and I liked it. I think probably I'd give it 4 out of 5 pumpkins. I just recently picked up some decorations and thought I'd put them to good use in this video. But this book is out of print. It's really tough to find. Let's see, like, how would you even go about finding it? I mean, I guess just check eBay every day, really. But I mean, search some used bookstores and stuff. Like, I saw somebody on Twitter one time when I was doing research about this book, and saw somebody say that they found it for like $2 at a used bookstore. So I'm sure there's probably like somewhere you could find this book for a deal. You might have to end up paying like $40 for it at least if you keep checking eBay, but I mean, I think it's worth it. You know, it's a really obscure book, and you know, if you're into that thing, I think it's definitely worth it. And it's a really cool book. And I wonder why she only published 2 books. This is her other book here, Home to the Mountain, which is not as expensive as this book. So, I think it's easier to find. So I think I'm gonna check out Home to the Mountain. I don't think it's horror though, but this was a really interesting book. Even the dedication here was like interesting. Like it says, for a loving disciple, to Marilyn Harris, for a gift so priceless only a great artist would choose to share it. Well, what was the gift? I'm curious. And then there's like some other ones here. And for Dr. Cliff Warren, Chairman, Creative Studies, CSU, who kept faith in my ability the many times I lost it. I wonder like what else she's written. Like if she has like other books written that were just like in her home and she never published them. Like that's just curious. Like I'm curious about that. Let's see. B. Louise Snow, who gave me the courage to begin again. Carl E. Alcorn, 1919 to 1977, an American warrior, for reading over my shoulder. And Walter Earl Kerr, 1892 to 1978, my beloved papa. What really interests me about this is like all these people that we probably never would have heard about if it weren't for this dedication. I don't know, that just interests me. Like these people, like their whole lives are just summed up in just these numbers right here. I don't know, that just interested me. But I don't know, guys, like if, like I said, if you guys have like 40, 50, $60 and you could find it, and if tracking down like obscure books is your thing, like I think it's definitely worth it. It does have its flaws. It's not a perfect book. It's also not the best horror novel ever. I know some people have this sort of misconception where they're like, it must be the greatest thing ever. It's definitely not. But it really is a fun story, and I hope that this could be reprinted. Valancourt Books has been trying to reprint it, trying to get the rights, and it would be really cool if they could reprint it, and then that way more people could get it for a normal price, you know, like, I don't know, $15, $16, whatever they normally price their books at. Like, I would really like it if this came back into print and people could get it for like $16 or something. I think that'd be really cool. But that's the end of the review, guys. This book is out of print, but if you want some books that are in print, and always will be, I have my 5 different books on Amazon down below in the description. My new book, Locked Coffins, recently came out. That is the 3rd book in the Eternity trilogy. There's Eternity, Inner Demons, and Locked Coffins, and of course there's the Eclipse Theater, and my horror comedy Duality. These are all in print. You're not going to have a tough time tracking it down like The Voice of the Clown. They're all down below in the description. Have a great day, everyone.